recent performances have been up and down as was expected under Ruben Amorim. He'd said himself that there was going to be some sort of bedding in problems. We were going to expect some sort of hiccups and speed bumps along the way, and yeah, of course that's how it's played out. I think the performance against Victoria Pilsen was huge. To come back in the manner that we did, it was a big step in the right direction after the disappointment against Forest, which I think if you look at the last section of games, that was the anomaly in there because it was individual errors. I don't think you can put that down to the performance. So for me, you've been able to see progress so far under Ruben Amorim. Progress that we hope we'd see, that we expected to see, and he has been there. So there's a lot of positive signs going forwards. So going into today's game against City, expectations wise, how we've been progressing mixed with City's poor performance, the expectations were anything could happen, absolutely anything, because I think we've shown we've got the potential to do teams damage, but at the same time we maybe are still missing a bit of a cutting edge, even though we have been better in front of goal. At the same time, City finding more and more ways to shoot themselves in the foot, and that's essentially what transpired today. Those two things collided: our progress and City's problems. It was the perfect storm for us. Now, up until we were 1-0 down, I thought it was a dull game. There wasn't a lot going on. But having said that, I liked our sense of, we weren't just purely on the back foot. There wasn't a lot going on, but we had a foothold in the game. It wasn't too bad. Definitely thought the opportunity was there for us to win the game. And then obviously we get hit by a massive stroke of bad luck, the ball looping off Ahmad's foot. And we've been poor at corners. We've been poor at set pieces. We've been poor at balls into the box. I'll admit that. I'm not putting this goal down to that today. I just think it's one of those freakish things that the ball, once it come off Ahmad, it flew, it's caught them off guard in the box, and it's just landed perfectly for Gvardiol. I'm not going to knock him for that one. Maybe I'm being a bit overly generous there, but I just put that. That's one of those things. The City, you've got a jammy goal. We don't deserve to be a goal down, but it is what it is, and we have got to do a little bit more. And then going into the second half, I thought we definitely the better team in the second half by a mile. City really didn't look inspired. You can see why. I haven't watched a lot of City in recent weeks, this season generally actually, but I could really see where people were coming from with the concerns about them. Now I think going into the second half of the season they'll pick up, especially if they can bring in a player or two. But I said at 1-0, I posted on Blue Sky that on a couple of occasions that all the players have got to do is believe in themselves, and if they believe in themselves, they're going to get the results. Even at 1-0 down, I still thought this is there. You could tell there was a bit of tentativeness there, which we saw in the Arsenal game too. In the Arsenal game, Arsenal obviously at this point in time looking a better team mentally than Manchester City especially, and that felt a little bit more of an uphill battle. But obviously we've had a chance to, they've had more time with Amorim since that game, and I think it showed today too. Obviously we've got our weaknesses, but we look like we could do them damage, and we just need to believe in ourselves, because we've had a bit of an inferiority complex for some time now. For the last few seasons, because we've been playing these top teams. Our record was shocking, wasn't it, away from home against the top sides for a good. Was it since 2021 we hadn't won a game against one of the traditional top sort of 6 teams? So that badly needed to change, and unfortunately we're able to do that today. Because even up until we got the penalty, Ahmad had been our bright spark, and he really was the catalyst for turning this around. He was busy all afternoon. He caused them problems. He did look like the one who was going to make something happen, and he was alive to the back pass. And obviously a lovely little bit of a trick, and he waited for the foul, and he got it and won us the penalty. And that changed the game, and he deserved that. Even if he hadn't got the goal afterwards, if that was his contribution to this game, it finished 1-1. He needed to be singled out for that anyway, because he was such a standout player. But no, that's not where it finished for Amad Diallo. It was the brilliant run, brilliant ball from Martinez, and he he didn't think too far ahead. It was like, okay, can I make the ball? Okay, I've got the ball. Can I get it past the keeper? I've got it past the keeper. Can I just hit the target? And each time he just did the right thing, time after time after time. It was just the next right thing that he needed to do. And those little steps all accumulated in him finding the back of the net. Nothing fancy, nothing flash. He just did what he needed to do. And it was an excellent finish from Ahmad from a very tight angle, and nothing more than he deserved. He was a real standout player today. Big credit to Bruno Fernandes for putting the penalty away. I thought he was a bit off at times. Kind of how he's been, recently for me. Really up and down, moments of magic and then moments where you're tearing your hair out. That's kind of Bruno in a nutshell, to be fair. But, he steps up when he mattered, and he put the penalty away in front of the City fans. A lot of pressure on him there, and he did a fantastic job. So fair play to Bruno. Other shout-outs, Harry Maguire had a fantastic game. A really, really good game at the back. He definitely deserves to be on the winning side, as did Mazraoui, as always. I felt bad for Mason Mount. Deserved his start today. He played really well when he came on in the week, and you thought, okay, crack on, let's see what he can do. And obviously comes up with another injury. I'm going to have to see how long he's going to be out for now. Lenny Yoro come on with a great cameo, I thought, as well. I think it was easily forgotten amongst everything else that was going on in this game, that brought on a young lad, 18-year-old essentially, who's not played a lot of football for us, to help us close out the game. And I thought he did a really good job. As Bruno said, Ugarte had a really good game. I thought he grew into it as it went on as well. Kobe Mainu, just to come on, and obviously not be expecting to come on that early. And also, and this is kudos to Bruno again as well, because obviously there was a little switch in positions where Bruno pushed further ahead for Mane to drop deeper. But to come into a game when you're not expecting necessarily to come in that early and to play as well as Kobe did, I think it took him a little time to settle, but I thought he did really, really well. And it's only going to help his reputation in the eyes of Ruben Amorim as well. My big takeaway now, though, from the game in terms of our progress and going forwards is just the control that we showed. And it was control that we showed against Arsenal too, and we were just able to take it that one step further today. Now, yes, City caused us problems, but this wasn't like the chaos under Erik ten Hag where we're really hoping for that transition. This was not a game based around transitions. I'm sure lazy journalists, pundits out there will talk about us sitting back and looking for the counter-attack, because some of the lazy journalism I've seen over the past several weeks since Amorim came in has been shocking. Like, people are not watching our games and they're making assumptions. We've always had it. It's always been a problem, but it's blown my mind. Like, everybody wants something to say about Ruben Amorim. I think it's fair for me to say that. I'm here talking about the game and commenting on Manchester United too. And I think if you're going to do that, though, then know what you're talking about to some degree. You can have an opinion that differs to somebody else, but just don't say things that are just don't seem to be true. Maybe so Gary Neville towards the end of the game, he was going on about, United don't really deserve this, but Ahmad does. I'm like, have we watched two different games? Because, you should know what you're on about too, but we've been equal, like on level pegging with them, if not better. And our XG was better in the end. I know some people don't like that, but their possession was like, it was 51% to 60 to 49 to us. I think shots on target were the same. We created the better chances. The stats showed that. So ultimately, we did deserve to win that game. And that's not a position we would have been in. Even with City at this low ebb, I can't have seen an Erik ten Hag team going into that game and us coming out the other end with almost matching possession to Manchester City. Now, yeah, that wasn't Erik's game. He was looking to play on the counter, but I always felt that it was an uncomfortable fit for us at times. Yes, you want to have a good counter attack, but that should just be one weapon in your armoury, as it was under Ferguson. We were not counter-attacking team under Alex Ferguson. We could just counter-attack well. It was just an attribute that we had, but it wasn't what we based our game around. And I don't think any team at the top end of the table, unless you are an underdog punching above your weight and you've got there from counter-attacking, fair enough. No team worth their salt should be a purely counter-attacking team at the top end. If you've spent a lot of money and you've got quality players, you should be looking to dictate games. A counter-attack is just a feature you should have when you're on the back foot that you can go up the other end. You shouldn't base your game around transitions. That's absolutely nuts for me. It should just be something that you work on and you're capable of doing well. It shouldn't be your whole game. And I feel like under Ruben Amorim, we've settled down. We've got a good structure. We've got a stable system now. And I'm seeing just how that's coming together little bit by little bit. I feel like it's easy to have expectations of what players should and shouldn't be able to do when who is performing well. And that confusion that we had before, I've spoken about this before, I know, but I think it's just so important to highlight the difference from where we were to now. Not just in results, but things make sense on the pitch again. And even if we went playing this system and we went a few games without a win and we were playing poorly, I don't think there's anything wrong with this setup. I think the one thing where Amorim, his stick or twist move, if you like, is when he replaces a defensive wing back for an attacking wing back, because that really does shift the game, and it's knowing when to go for it essentially. But you can see how you can do that within this structure by tweaking it and moving little things around without having to change too much. So I'm fully on board with it. I think I can see where we're going. We're heading in the right direction. Today's win was such a huge win because this is going to help get players to buy into what he's trying to do.